by Fury! And sure, Kevo can ult, but it's not gonna do diddly squat. Wow! Looking for with the counter strike, and it's an absolute butchery! Three-man moonfall! Shaolin has an easy time tidying this one up. The tornado secures him the double. He nails it! No way! How does he do it every time? Oh, he rolls! Flash! Petrifying gaze stuns 3! That is gonna be him taken out by Toaster, and it's only Indecision standing. An ace for the side of RUD, a quadra kill for Toaster. And that one looks absolutely beautiful. A double kill, triple kill for Zapdo. Gonna get over that wall, but Natives are winning the fight on the other side. The Baron's gonna be stolen away, but as punishment, Domino will get aced. Because he is shooting out bullets that are completely wrecking Unique. Uko on the back line, offering nothing at all.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Northern League of Legends Championship. It is week 2, day 1, baby. My name is Ashano Maya. I will be your host, and I'm not alone. I have Himprain and Foxtrot. Hello. How you doing, gentlemen?
Hey, how's it going? I'm on desk. That's a bad thing, guys. That's a real bad thing.
Just tried to take the flare out. I had the flare. There you go. That's lovely.
You're king of predictions, bro. You deserve to be on an analyst.
I'm not. I'm third.
He's no
well,
longer.
you were.
I was.
after
For one day.
day
For one day, I was the greatest person in the world, but I lost it real quick.
How are you doing, by the way, Foxtrot? You're back. You did day 1. You're doing day 3. How are you doing? How was it like 1 day break and then almost a week?
Oh well, it's painful, obviously, not being here for the second day, but we did survive, fortunately, and we're here for game number 3. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the teams have got in store for us. I think we're sort of starting to get an idea of who the stronger and the not so strong teams are in NLC, but there's a lot of time to flip narratives. So I want to see if there's any of that happening this week.
We'll talk about that later on, but yeah, tell me here, Brian, what do you want?
I was just gonna say, can I derail this immediately and just like comment on Archer with like the cricket get up? I love that.
Cricket getter.
It's like he's ready to hit the cricket field, man. It's sick.
I
love
never
it.
used this in my life. I'm trying to try
It's a
new
good look.
things.
It's a good look, my guy. It's a good look.
It looks good, yeah. It suits you, I'm not gonna lie.
So we have these two gentlemen with us on the desk, but these are not the only voices we will be talking today. We need the voices inside of the Rift, and that's why I'm going to introduce you, Eragon and Duckling. Do you know Duckling is Danish, though?
He's never told us, not once. He didn't tell us 5 times in the Discord call before the show either.
I think you're underestimating me. Probably 7 or 8 times during the call so far. No, I'm excited. I've escaped the desk, Ashram. I'm free from your chains. And
Wait, what do you mean escaped? It's not a prison. What do you mean?
It's fun being on the desk, but I'm excited to get onto the Rift today and cast some League of Legends, you know.
If I had
likewise,
to ask, what is the team you're looking out for the most? Who would you pick, Duckling? Who would you pick, Eragon?
You go ahead, I gotta think.
Okay, if you gotta think. I mean, for me, Verdant had a disappointing week 1, so I'm not looking at them anymore. I'm looking at DMG. I'm still yet to see my boy Agony Pain pop off. I know he has the capabilities to do so. They had a rough week 1, DMG. Agony Pain wasn't too bad, but he didn't make much of a difference, and that's what I want to see this week. And up against a weak Verdant roster, I think DMG could make an upset here. I'm very excited for that last game.
Yeah,
About
I
you,
think
Renegon?
mine goes to Venom Crest. I'm a big fan of how they
Fair
play
point.
the map as a unit. I know they're 2-0 right now, so it's an easy answer, but I don't think anyone expected them to do so well.
I agree. I'm actually really surprised, and I'm turning out to be a fan of them. So that's why our predictions are so tied up. By the way, is it today we're going to be untied and I'll get the first place, Eragon?
Say that again one more time. My earphone cut out.
Oh, okay, I just want to beat you at the predictions. That's it. Well, good luck on the
Oh,
Summoners
right.
Rift.
Yeah,
I'll move
no,
on to the
you are
desk.
going down, my friend.
Still
You are
the
going
voice
down.
of Eragon. He's gone, and we're back with the desk. Chaos!
Turned into an old person on the phone. I can't hear you. Speak up. Man, phone's not working.
What's your prediction, Eragon? I think my pack is a... One thing that is also back that was an old thing, but it's now new. It is time for the games. I missed this. Let's play a game of Who Am I? Items edition. Okay. So this is how it's gonna work. I'll give you a name. I'll give you a clue. And I'll say, hey, Brian, this is first clue. And you miss. I'll toss it to Foxtrot. And then I'll give another
gosh.
clue. And you'll miss. And I'll give the third one. And if you all miss on the clues, I'll be extremely disappointed. I'll give you points depending on what clue you got the item. And let's move on with the show. So let's start with the first one. The first clue of the first item is you need to buy too many swords to achieve my greatness. Hip Brain, it's on you to tell me. Who am I?
Damn it. I was going to say that. I can't remember the name of it already. I was going to say the name of that, like, kind of bruisery crit item. But I think they built that out of a pickaxe. I don't know the name of any of the new items yet. I haven't learned them.
So it's a complete fail. Let's go for the second clue. It's on you, Foxtrot. My ego will bring you power.
Oh, damn it.
That's no, what's that called?
I know the
name.
Tick tock 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 tick tock tock.
Hubris.
Hooray!
Damn it!
Yes,
Damn
it! He gets 7 points. The third clue,
was
yeah,
escaping me.
would be the king needs a crown and the crown needs a kill. That would be the third clue. This is quite an easy one. If you get the clue, if you get the first clue, you get 10 points. If you get the second one, you get 7. If you get on the third one, you get 5. And if you don't get it, I'll be disappointed. Just like
that's
my
the worst.
parents. Moving on to the second one. Foxtrot, it's on you. How many mantles and cloaks can you handle?
I'm gonna say force of nature. I don't know.
Oh, that is an amazing guess. It is wrong though. Moving on to the
What
second
did he
one.
guess? I totally missed what he guessed. What did he guess? I don't guess the
He
same
said
thing.
force of nature.
I guess.
Okay, cool.
Second clue is on you, Hiprain. I'm shy, so I need 12 seconds before I can appear.
Ooh.
This item has been built so many times in the first 2 days of NLC. It has been
no.
so powerful. He knows, but he doesn't know. And I love
Jack
this.
Show. It's not Jack Show. It's Is it Jack Show?
I don't know. Tell me. Do you want to?
I'm
bet
gonna
Jack
say
Show?
I'm gonna vote Jack Show here.
Do you want to go for Jack Show?
I'm going for Jack Show.
Lovely. It is not. The third clue.
Damn it!
It is. Mages hate this simple trick or item.
Is it the the Banshees equivalent or whatever that is? I can't remember the name. My names are letting us down. That's all I got. I just got Banshees, something
Don't
like
worry,
that.
man. It's not only the names; it's everything that is letting us down. It's Kanik
Yeah.
Rukern. I don't know if this is the way you
Oh.
pronounce
What the
it,
hell?
but it has been
Oh,
so
yeah.
many times and given
Is that
the
actually
top
its
liners.
name? Kanik Rukern.
Yeah, it's so awkward to say. I'm not native, so you guys need to help me on that one. I'm Portuguese. Moving on to the third
that's
one.
fair.
It is?
That's
Okay.
ridiculous.
So
Yeah.
it's on you hit right now.
It's
Yeah,
on
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Oh god, I can't let myself down here.
People stopped buying so many books, but I still required it. Because the codex has been stopped, you know the build from Gragas, the boss build?
Oh, is it Malignance?
No, but that was really close.
That's 2 books. It's Fiendish and Lost Chapter. So I thought,
Exactly. It's really
That's
close.
close. Yeah.
Oh,
Foxtrot?
it's another one of them then.
Did you
Or
know?
Lotus. Oh,
I
sorry.
also have magic penetration.
Oh.
Oh, damn it. I know exactly which one that is.
I'm still a little. Yeah. It's the Bloom one, isn't it? I don't know its name.
I need more.
Okay,
I need more.
I'll say Morelos because I don't know the full name of the Bloom
It
one.
is not Morelos, so that's moving on to the third clue. Hiprain, it's your time to get 5 points. You're sitting at 0, by the way. I bloom with the death of others and bring
There it
life to
is.
those around it.
It's Crypt Bloom.
Yeah.
It is Crypt Bloom. You
I
told
said
me.
I got 50% of the name,
5
the
points.
Bloom item.
Yes, I don't go 0. That's all I needed. As long as I don't go 0, I'm fine.
Fourth item. Let's
Oh,
go
there's
on
4?
you, Fox. 5.
Oh, I suck at this so
I'm
bad.
antisocial, so you need to stay away from me.
Oh, come on.
That's the item, not only me, okay? That's also the item.
Is it a
That's
hole
the first clue.
breaker?
No.
Oh.
Moving on to the second one.
Okay.
Hiprain. My temper burns when someone collapses.
Is it called Agony's Embrace? Is that the name of it? They're like the AP, the like magic resist burn item. They call it the Barmies. I can't remember what it is. I think it's called Agony's Embrace.
It is not.
Damn.
So that's moving on to Foxtrot. My brother has been part of the league since season 1, but it is my time to shine. Hiprain was onto something, by the way.
Yeah, I can imagine. Is it the...
If it's not full, it's...
Empty?
Aww.
I'm just gonna pass because I don't know.
No
them
item
at
for
all.
you, then Hollow Radiance.
Wait, isn't that what I
Hollow-
guessed? I did
Hollow
get. I got the
Radiance.
name wrong. Ah, I got
You
the
got the
name
name
wrong.
wrong.
I said that was
What
the
is
item I
it?
was thinking of. I said it's the Barmies burning item. I
Last
couldn't remember the name.
item. Why build swords, Hiprain, when you can have a stick?
Oh, Brutalizer.
There you go. Wait, what?
That's the name of it, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with a stick?
It is
It's a stick. The Brutalizer
it?
is a stick.
Yeah.
It's been in the game for years, man. Well,
I've-
it's been
yeah,
out
but
for years, but it came
was
back.
it always a stick?
It was always a stick.
It was always
Yeah.
a stick. That was
guess, like,
actually
I
one
can
of the
kind of-
clues. I took a vacation, but now I'm back, baby. It's
Yeah.
going to be brutal. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that means Hiprain, you just won.
I did
For
it.
the first time.
Yes.
Congratulations.
What's the high
Hiprain.
score?
deserved.
We haven't had this game, so I actually hold the high score right now. So
Exactly.
we can retire this game, and I can
Undefeated.
stay king of the world.
You can
I'm
take the
very
high
happy.
score just like you took on the first day of predictions
Exactly.
and then you lost, you know. But it's a new king. It's a new king and you won something. And by the way, do you know back at home that you can win something as well? All you need to do is head on Twitter and tell us your predictions so you can win. It's not something like you're thinking of. It's actually a mouse from Steel Cities. So head on to Twitter and tell us your predictions for this week. And the person who has the best predictions will actually get this beauty on the screen right now that you're watching. It's called Weekly Community Predictions Contest. So you get the opportunity to win an ADOX 5 wireless Steel Cities mouse. I think I got that one right. And I think we need to talk about the previous week, day 2. We had amazing games, beautiful games. And I want to know which of these games you want to highlight.
I'm quite happy to jump in first. I think
Yeah.
it was definitely for me the Verdant game
Okay.
versus NORD. I think NORD are a really slept on team. Honestly, a lot of people didn't predict them either days, and to be fair, they had tough matchups. They did win their first game of the entire split. They were very, very close to Verdant throughout this entire game. I think the jungle gap was like the major thing for what won Verdant this game, because they just controlled every objective. They played super, super well. So yeah, for me, definitely that game 4 of the second day was the game that I enjoyed the most and thought was the best game.
What about you, Fox?
Well, mine's the one that you're seeing on your screen now. I have to say, running versus Lions Creed. Like, so coming into the NLC, we didn't really know too much of what to expect as far as seeing how the teams performed, because there were a lot of new rosters. But just from name value alone, Lions Creed bringing in a bit of a superstar lineup. So we thought they'd be a bit head and shoulders above everyone else. But that RUD game was honestly really, really close. And to begin with, it was exceptionally close, honestly. RUD really did impress me. I think coming in, I wasn't really sure what we'd see out of them. Blew up essentially their whole roster. And yeah, I've just seen, especially in that mid lane with Alex, I think he's been like super good, by the way. I think he's honestly like top top 3, maybe top 2 mid laner that we have here in the NLC so far. So I think a lot of their wins are going to come off the back of him, and I'm excited to see how he progresses in this split.
He's actually one of those one to watch through the entire splits. Edagon was talking about him as well. It was also Veteran who was talking about him. Everybody's bringing up points about that player, and he's actually making it show. So keep in mind that Rudy is going to play further on to the day, and that's exactly where we're going to jump into now to understand what games we have in store for us all. We're going to start with Rudy versus NORD, exactly in a few minutes, followed by Lightside and Lion Crest, Venom Crest, and then Alliance Creed, then Venom Crest versus Natives, and we're gonna end up the day with Verdant versus DMG. The match of the day for today will be Venom Crest versus Natives. This is also an interesting one. Why do you folks believe that this will be the match of the day? Tell me.
Well, they both have 1 player each and 4 bots, as you can see from the from the screen. So you know, you're taking a look at Yaki and such there. No, I honestly, for me, Venom Crest has been surprising. Actually, I'd say both these teams have been surprising. For me, Natives in a sort of negative way. I kind of expected a little more from them, and they were a little bit last week. Whereas Venom Crest, absolutely just, I wasn't expecting much at all, really, from these guys coming in. And they're 2-0. They won both their games. They've looked solid. And even in their games, not just in the results, I think they've honestly just shockingly so looked like a very, very clean team, and coming into the split I wasn't expecting that from them at all. So I definitely think it's a deserved match of the day, and I think for Natives as well, this is where, you know, they had a bit of a shaky first week. They still went 1-1, so not too bad on the scoreboard, but they really want to step it up if you want to live up to the legacy that this organization's had in the NLC.
It's a legacy.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, for me, it's been like, when it comes to Venom Crest, it's been Zubac who's just really impressed me. He's been a really, really solid jungler. So I'm excited to see, you know, how he kind of like defines this game. Like you were saying, everyone was surprised by Venom Crest. I don't think anyone really predicted them to have as good of a performance as they did. 2-0 at the beginning. Obviously, it's early days, so you have a very small sample size to take from. But what we saw was the foundation of a very, very good team. I think what defines them from like where they are now to where we'll see them in, you know, 3-4 weeks time is how much they've improved upon that. If they're still the same level as we're seeing right now, I'd start to worry. So I feel like these next couple of weeks, we want to see what growth they can get. And I feel building around Zubac and Zubac being able to enable his team is going to be a very clear path for them to progress and show that they aren't, you know, it wasn't just a flash in the pan, and they actually are a really, really solid team.
We're still on day 2, but we also have some predictions and wild guesses, and that's why we're going to show you. Well, there's a beautiful folk in first place, which is Edagon. I'm tied with him. Edagon got the perfect day, and that should give him the boost, by the way. I should be in second place, and Edagon should take the first one because he got the perfect day. So we're tied up with 14, followed up by Hiprain, and Veteran tied up in third, and Foxdrop. And we jump into Duckling, Middlecott, and Rudude, and Initialize. Well, yeah, they're trying their best. Now to the predictions for today. Hiprain is all or nothing. On the first day, going for NORD instead of Rudy. And then pretty much everyone is going for the same games. And there's a lot of belief in Venom Crest. I understand what you guys were talking about. They presented such a beautiful gameplay. Natives have to step up. We have 3 people still believing in them, but they have to show something different, just like Hiprain did. NORD and DMG. Explain yourself if possible.
Right, so first of
Here
all,
we go.
I've put the house down on this game, man. Like,
I love it.
My wife and kids are gonna leave me if that first game goes bad. I bet it all. But no, I genuinely, as far as like the Ruddy NORD game goes, both of them are 1-on-1 right now. I think Ruddy were very impressive on the first day. Really, really impressive. In fact, I made quite a lot of points on Ruddy in that game where everyone else bet against them. So you know. What I saw in NORD was just something that just felt a little bit more stable. They just felt like a team who they showed me this spark, and I believed in them off the back of that. So yeah, I did go pretty hard on my points. I bet on them in this one. It's first of all, it's partly a tactical thing because I kind of had a feeling a lot of people were going to go for Ruddy, but also I genuinely do feel out of all of like my crazy bets, this is the one which actually feels safe. If that's the best way to word it. I might be eating my words in 40 minutes time, but I genuinely feel like NORD are a team who were very impressive in week 1, even in their loss and their win. So I've got a lot of faith in them, and that's why I bet 5 points on NORD in that first one. DMG, I don't know, man. I feel like I can't tell you. I just
Like the way you started. Like, you present one for NORD versus RUD. You're like, so I have this completely normal and stable thought on this game. DMG. It happened. Like, my mouse just went there. So let's see what happens at the end of the day. Obviously, both, like, a lot of teams understand that they need to step up, and maybe that is the day for today for DMG. They were talking about that previous week. Well, week 1 was not what we expected. Week 2, let's see what happens. Let's see if you get those points. But let's go into the first game of the day. It's RUD versus NORD. You talked about it, Hip Rain, so I'll let Foxtrot now talk about it, because we're about to jump into Champion Select, and I need to get your predictions or your thoughts about this game, Fox.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm kind of with Jake when he said that this is probably the closest of his crazy predictions. Like, NORD is certainly not a bad team on paper at all. From what we saw of them last week, yeah, they didn't look too hot, but you just look at the components that make up this this lineup, and it's kind of hard to ever write them off, right? You got Nile in the top side, who's always a superstar in the NLC. Romeo and Merb's bot lane as well, the Swedish duo. I think we can expect some pretty good things out of those two. Romeo, especially, you know, he's like a 17-year-old not French superstar, 17-year-old superstar who's coming in hot as one of the rookies that we're keeping our eyes on, right? So I think it's going to be pretty exciting to see how this one goes down, and I don't think it's as one-sided as those predictions might suggest. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good game for sure, and I bet Jake's going to be sweating throughout it, but I could see a world. I can see a world where he's making bank off of this one.
I believe 100%,
Oh, no.
and I love the fact that they took out the Seraphine. I believe one of the strengths of Rudy so far has been the Seraphine. Without the shields, I don't know how they're going to play.
Yes, I will admit though, there's 2 really solid bans from Ruddy, and they're both aimed at Nilly. Both the Cassante and the Rumble. Rumble very, very strong at the moment. Cassante, as we saw a lot last week, eventually just gets to like immortal status and the ability to isolate someone from their team as well. I think that's a really solid takeaway. I think Nilly being the target here is probably going to be Ruddy's plan, because they're a very stable player, and if they do get ahead, the game can run away with you. So I'd like to see what NORD are going to look to do. I'm expecting to see them look to try and counter towards that top side. They've picked the Jhin up in response to the Varus, getting themselves the Xin Zhao there for Roshan in the jungle as well. So now Ruddy probably looking to complete out their bot lane, and then also picking themselves up a solid jungler in this next phase.
This I hate saying this out loud, but this Varus is a flex. We've seen tank Varus top, right?
Yes, I did forget
Sadly,
about
we
that.
have. Yeah.
Hideous statement to say out loud, but it could be, you know, and I think obviously picking flexes early certainly has its benefits. It's going to be that Maokai matched up most likely in the jungle to Xin. What I like about this is it's both those choices there, 2 very, very strong early game junglers. A lot of pressure there, a lot of pressure in the lanes, especially for those ganks. So going to be pretty hot and heavy right from the get-go, which means you're probably going to want to pair up some crowd control in those lanes to set up those ganks and to make that early aggression possible. And Rel is a choice there. Very, very solid.
Fired a lot of front line for Rudy. They're playing with a different mindset. They don't have access to that shield we saw previously from the Seraphine. We talked about the possibility of a Sona appearing, but I don't think that is going to be on the table. On the other side, NORD really want to go in, but also play from afar with that Jhin. And to final up, to bring it up, maybe getting the support. There we go. Another engage tool. So bloody team fights is what we're getting so far, at least in my opinion. This could be a massive CC fest, and whoever gets the perfect CC wins so far.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a very, very fighty game. There's going to be a lot of fights. I really want to see both Romeo and Edward move around to get these objectives, like these early Void Mites and things like that for the team. And I want to see them be in places to enable their jungler to be able to run away and kind of take all of the objectives. It's like I was saying in that last game of last week, where Verdant played up against NORD. the big thing which Nord fell to was objectives. Like, they lost all of the dragons. Soul went over to Verdant fairly early in that game, and it was a Hextech Soul as well. So I would like to see Roshan be more on it with objectives in this game, because that was their great undoing versus Verdant, and that was a close game. So if they can be a bit more controlling of those objectives, I think this could be their avenue in. They've picked up the Xin Zhao, who's going to be very scrappy early, so that's kind of where my expectations are on that. Having a quick look at the bans, the LeBlanc gets taken away, the Riven gets taken away, and there's the Yone, technically a flexible pick as well there, getting banned away by Nord. One last ban coming in here for Ruddy. See what they're going to take off. We did see the Yone. I believe it was Built who played it top lane last
Alex
week.
played it last
well.
week mids.
It was Alex who played it.
He did very well. I mean, Bill also played it top lane last week, for what it's worth. So
they had 2 Yone picks. Okay,
they both played it. So not too surprising to see that one taken away. Yeah, I mean, we still got, honestly, there wasn't a huge amount of champion diversity from Ruddy last week. Both games were Seraphine Rakan bot lanes, for example, but obviously the Seraphine being banned away might throw a bit of a spanner in the works for that one. Just trying to get rid of a lot of the safe mid laners here. Obviously there's a huge pinch in that role right here with the Nico, Syndra, LeBlanc, and Yone. So Corki, yeah, pretty uninteractive so far there in mid. I wouldn't be surprised to see like that Azir, maybe Orianna or something on the backside to kind of just match that, just like an intensely non-interactive and boring mid lane here matchup to go through. Either way, we're gonna see how this comp rounds out, whether it is the Varus top, whether that's a flex, whether that is the ADC. Jace coming through here, that could be against Corki. Actually, one of the few mid laners that does provide a little bit of pressure against Corki, matches a bit with that wave clear when you get like one item and can put some pressure on him too. It looks as though this Varus is actually ADC, and we're just going to get a standard top laner here for Built.
That's a tremendous amount of AD coming in from Ruddy.
That is very true. That is very true.
Yeah, it is. I will say both teams actually have quite a lot of poke tools. They do have engage tools, but I actually expect to see both the Maokai and the Rail get used more as a disengage tool, or a kind of once enough damage has gone in, then they jump into the middle of the fight. Obviously, Nord now looking to round out their comp. They've got to pick something that's going to feel comfortable going toe-to-toe with this Aatrox in the top lane here. It looks like Nilly just going to try and unlock themselves in the side lanes, switching around a bunch, actually ending out on the Gwen here. Does give them, the ability to kind of play in those side lanes, but also some team fighting utility as well. Again, though, it's going to be a little bit rough when you've got to get through all of that poke, but the W on the Gwen does mean, you can eat up some of that poke and not actually take any damage for the team while your team can fire back. It's going to be an interesting game. And not just because I voted on them, I do really like what Nord have put together here. If you've seen Corki, when he gets the Malignance and the Eclipse, and that free item spike on the Corki is really nasty. You follow up the Jhin poke as well. It's really brutal, but also Lethality Varus is really not fair at the moment. So one ult hits from that Varus, and that actually probably is just GG on a fight, because you will get popped.
But it's extremely dangerous. The composition from a Xin Zhao that can isolate himself, the Gwen can isolate herself, and Alistar can deny damage. So Nord are extremely powerful as a frontline, even though you don't have a specific frontliner. They're like, I negate that damage. I can ignore that damage. I don't think that all AD team, and I'll send it to you, Foxtrot, for the final thoughts from Ruddy, can prove itself as useful as we saw in the previous 2 games in last year.
Yeah, I would say personally in that draft, I would have preferred a dog champion for Nile topside. Something that can just stack armor, maybe with a little bit of engage, because you really would have screwed over the Ruddy's game plan there, especially when it comes to things like poke, because then you just stand in front of it. You just stand in front of it and you protect your whole team, right? So the Gwen, on the other hand, though, does provide a bit of a win condition for the top side to play through. Like Xin and Gwen versus Aatrox, absolutely abusable, and Nile is Nile. So certainly Nord playing towards their players' strengths, but I'm more curious to see what everyone thinks of the draft, to be honest. And
exactly.
Yeah.
I want to see, because that top lane has a lot of things to be talked about, so that's why I want to send it to Aragon and Duckling, who's probably salivating with the idea of too many team fights.
Oof, yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward for this one, Aragon. Had the honors of watching the draft with you. You predicted it very well, I will say, but that doesn't leave me without questions. I am for Ruddy. I like a lot of what they've done, but to me, in my play-by-play opinion, Aragon, it seems like it's a lot of AD damage.
Yeah, right. So typically before, you used to have Maokai standalone because you went AP Maokai, right? You used to farm until you get items like Demonic and then throw saplings, and that was enough magic damage. So I still think it's enough, right? It's still fine. You've still got enough damage on the team comp. The only worry is, like, you've got Jace, Varus. I hope it's on-hit Varus, right? So you can do enough DPS to threaten a Baron or something. Otherwise, you can never really force that. Still, yeah, I think in general it is enough, right? Especially when the enemy team don't have any dedicated tanks. You could argue Alistair and Xin Zhao, I believe, but I think it's still fine.
Okay, so shouldn't be too much AD, and I really like the fact you brought this up because it was something I was thinking as well, right? One of the things I like about Varus personally in this meta is the opportunity to flex the champion build depending on what the draft concludes. Because initially they might have thought, yeah, this will be a poke Varus, because normally I see most of the Lefladity Varus. I know a bit of the on has been played over in China. I've seen it in the LPL, but in games like this, right, where, okay, maybe we have too much AD, the poke won't really stick up against someone like the Alistair who will heal up when the minions die. So let's just go for the on-hit build instead, get that more AP damage. And I agree with you, if that's the route Silky Math is going to take, they should have enough AP damage to be able to cut through the not so tanky NORD lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a bit divided in terms of opinion as to what build you should go. Typically, sorry, not typically. I've been speaking to some LEC coaches, and some of them legitimately just say, go on hit every single game, right? I can't wait to see what runes Silky Smath is running so we can actually see. Some people really hate lethality, and it's a lot of it is because of this Baron threat.
Yeah, okay. So it's because you can't really threaten the neutral objective early on, and it seems to me, I spotted on Silky Smath, he has gone for the Arcane Comet. So initially, at the very least, yeah, has to go for the poke, right? And that's the thing with runes, though, to kind of tie you down.
Yep. So
okay.
Yeah, so usually when it comes to this kind of, you're playing against poke compositions like with Jace, Varus, Inton, Maokai saplings, right? That's what they have. And then built there in front as kind of a flexible pick where he sort of stands there, facilitating the poke, creating space. So it's on NORD in the mid game when they're versus this poke to try and match the range, which is what they've tried to go for with the Corki rockets and the Jin, who are very long range, as well as engage, right? You want to cover that ground so you don't get poked out too hard. It's going to be a very long range game. That's what we're looking at in the mid game. In the early game, however, very often versus Maokai, you want to attack it, right? You want to use the priorities of your lane. So looking from NORD's perspective, you have a Xin Zhao, very strong early game. You have priority top side, then you get pushed in the mid lane and the bot side, so you don't really want to invade there, unless I'm wrong here, but you've leashed as NORD bot lane, so you're probably not going to.
Yeah, no bot lane did end up leashing as we go right into a pause. Maybe that was a mistake, shouldn't have leashed bot potentially. Time to chrono break it back now. Just joking on that one. So you talked about this before we came on. We shouldn't be expecting too much action early on. We are more looking for that mid-game situation where you have to play around the neutral objectives, force your opponents into these pits, and try and see if you can poke each other down. Yeah, but there is also a bit of engagement, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly, and if there is going to be action early game, it's going to come from the setup of the Rel plus Maokai and the Varus damage early, or it's going to come from Xin Zhao attacking Maokai and using priority from topside. I think that's probably the best play, but we'll have to see. It's pretty open-ended.
No, and I really like the fact that you're talking about some top lane priority as well and bringing that into the equation, because for Roshan, one of the things I'm excited to see him bring into the league is a bit of a different view on what a jungler can do, because he formerly has played in our ecosystem in the NLC Div 2 or back then as well in the Norwegian League as a top laner for Bifrost and helped them qualify to the NLC. So he's had a lot of success in our ecosystem as a top laner, but now he's transitioned into the jungle role. He had some time over in the Benelux scene, did do quite well there, if I recall correctly. So now to see him in the NLC, I want to see if he has a different approach, because if there is any jungler in our league who knows what the top laner needs and what the top laner can do for you, it is him, right? So it'd be great to see him utilize, for example, a top lane priority to get Nila rotating down and abuse that to get himself ahead.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Keep an eye on what Roshan wants to do. Some trading comes down bot side. Typically top side, because you're talking about it right now, it's kind of sleeper in this matchup. The waves just end up bouncing, and with Gwen getting priority, and there isn't that much setup. Gwen naturally has no CC in her kit, whereas, Aatrox's CC is a little bit easy to avoid, and this is the nature of bot lane this season. Super volatile, even in melee support matchups. You trade really heavily, and hopefully, your trades can result in good, a strong trade against the enemy condition, which could facilitate a dive. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like both junglers are actually going to path topside though. So again, eyes on the invade.
Eyes on the invade, still
Classic.
waiting on it. It's been a couple minutes now as yet another pause comes through. You know, back in the day, Aragon, of like 2018 and 19, back in the Danish scene, this was something that happened all the time. It became like a meme in our local community that we can't start a game without a pause. We'd go into a game, that'd always be this like 5-minute pause. And as a caster, obviously, back then we had spectator delay as well. So we had to wait like 8-10 minutes after draft to get into the game because there was always this pause. And, you know, it's bringing back the memories of never really getting to see the game first, just having to drag out the tension for a little bit extra.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall now. Back when I was a player as well, back in the UK scene, I don't recall having any too many pause issues. So it sounds like it's a Denmark problem, right? Danish league.
Don't put out Denmark problems, man. You know, that's not gonna flow well. That's not gonna work well here. This is a pro Denmark casting today.
Okay.
If when you get hip brain back, you know you can talk trash about us all you want. Yeah, you can talk all that smack, but then again, it's not gonna hit that hard. You're from the UK, so. I mean, you do live in Germany now, though. Certainly better. I think the weather's better as well, right there, right where you live. You live in the south of Germany or something. You should have like what 30 degrees in the summer, anything.
No, honestly, it's kind of awful. 40 degrees often, and yeah, you're overheating, and it feels really, really bad. And then in the winter, you're freezing, and everything is sleet. So I'm not a big fan.
That sounds worse than the UK weather. I mean, I was in the UK not too long ago, and other than a lot of rain, the temperature was actually pretty nice for December. It was like 11, 12 degrees. That was very, very, very decent at that point of time. We are trying to get an update on the pause to find out what is next. Hopefully the issues aren't too severe, but the fact that we came from a pause into the game and then to another pause, that does worry me a little bit. But luckily our producer just told me that we should be back sooner rather than later, so we don't have to throw it to a pause or anything. Fingers crossed though, because I could just be caster cursing it at this moment. But Aragon, if you have anything interesting you wanna add,
I just wanted to shoehorn in there that Hipbrain is very angry at me being a caster on the UK scene, and he's saying there was actually a pause every single show back in the day. So maybe I'm just misremembering.
And he would know.
He would.
Yeah, he's an old man, Getting older is a part of time. Regardless, though, back to the laning phase and the pressure early on from this Ruddy bot lane. You talked about the heavy trading. The priority as well is certainly in Ruddy's favor.
Yeah, and it looks like both junglers going for a standard full clear, right? Yeah, priorities down to the bot side and the mid lane, exactly how we expected. Doesn't look like Roshan is going to go for this invade. It doesn't really. It's pretty nice. You have the classic Xin Zhao Gwen combo, which are super painful potential frontliners, right, in front to back situations. You see Nilla getting vision down in the jungle here, but I don't think anything is going to come of it. He doesn't choose to opt to a cheetah recall and drops a minion to get some vision, but still ultimately going to scout out the clear for Natty Nat. Maybe they can do some kind of invade on second rotation camps, but we'll have to see what they choose to do.
Yeah, fighting that time at the moment. As you said, we are expecting a bit of a slower early game. One thing, though, with the new season that I do like with the Void drops, it does kind of accelerate the early game. It feels more common now to see either some early first bloods or, these early objective trades where someone goes for the Drake, someone gets the Void drops, and it has that little bit of extra tension early on. And now that pass will cross. Natty Nat gets engaged upon Roshan. I do believe he managed to steal that away. So, yeah, gets that extra bit of gold in his pockets. That's very nice, denying that away from Natty Nat. As Roshan now walks towards the mid lane. Alex low on mana, but Roshan, he has one thing in his sights, that is that second scuttle.
Yeah, second scuttle going to go over to the way of Roshan, or the ping's coming down on that Wraith camp, so could invade the respawn times without, at the very least, drop a deep ward. Alex is going to have to recall and TP back, so he, with that tier, yeah, there it goes. That's really brutal. That's the second rotation version of it, and this is what I'm talking about, right? Natty Nat's being invaded. Maokai, this is his big weakness, right? You have insane dueling power from the side of Roshan on this Xin Zhao, and he's just showing it, taking all these camps.
I mean, that is such a fantastic feeling from a jungler, getting all that, right? Normally getting 2 scuttles, you'd be happy, but getting the chance to steal away one of your opponent's camps as well, that's really, really good. That's just pushing these small leads that will eventually add up to already a couple of hundred gold and getting some sour ahead. Definitely helped us stay in the game.
Romeo?
A successful gank here would make it even better. Romeo flanking. Will he get the CC through? Oh, the flash polarize hits them both, but Silky Math reads the play well. Now Romeo very low, no flash, remember. Has already used it. Nice to walk forward. Natty Nat looking to close the gap. He has the flash. Roots them all. The CC is there. First blood comes through for Silky Smith. Now Roshan taken quite low. Does still have the flash and forced to use it as well. It was NORD who made the play, but Ruddy who punished.
Yeah, the really strong early game coming out from Ruddy. You can see both teams expected action down bot side. You see Roshan trying to move there with Romeo on that flank position, but it might just continue.
And Merps has flash, but they are going between the turrets here to look for the kills. Edward forces that flash out of Merps.
Look at that wave. Look at that wave down bot side.
Alex is
Merbs
down
is
here as
really
well.
miserable.
Romeo is back, full HP, but underneath the turret goes Nadia. This could be too far forward, and it is for now. Can they get anything though? No, not quite.
Worsie's
Silky
here.
another one rooted up. Doesn't have the flash. Let's see what Worsey can do. It's an early game Corgi, but he can still do something. A couple more autos will seal the kill, and it feels like Ruddy now have bit off a bit more than they can chew. They should lose 3 here, I feel, as Edward likely to go down. Can the rockets land? Flash comes out as well from Worsey. Yeah, he'll get this one. There gets secured. Alex now as well. There's no way they get all 4, right? This would be a disaster for the Ruddy Nation, and I believe they will do so. Romeo will survive this. Alex, can he get out? The accelerator gate gets him out for now. He flashes towards Romeo. He goes for the outplay. He turns it around. I wrote his death warrant, but he turns it around and finds a solo kill.
Yeah, what started out as a really, really good play for the side of Ruddy actually turns out pretty bad. You can see all the waves and the minions that Merbs was missing out on underneath the tower constantly, but then they overextend a little bit. I believe it was Natty Nat on this Maokai, goes under tier 2 turret, and it ends up being a 4v4 full bot side. Warzy eventually manages to come, but in the end, they don't actually miss that many minions, right? Luckily, Alex manages to turn around, get a kill for himself, but still, overall, is it fairly even? If you factor in the amount of minions that Merbs lost, it's pretty hard to say because of how long that fight was.
It was a couple minutes long, and normally, again, one of the things I like to do when these fights are so close, right? You look, where did the kills go to? Did the gold go into
Romeo?
the right players? And as Romeo now looks to rotate mid, I can certainly say that for both Nord and Ruddy, it did. The mid laners and AD carries picking up all the gold here.
Yeah, yes,
As
Hex
Romeo
Flash.
looks to the flank. Yeah, Hex Flash is there. He's underneath the turret already. Alex, you want some revenge. Romeo will secure this one for his team. Should not die here. Oh, there's no way,
for
Alex,
one.
man. 1v3 makes that a 1-for-1. Incredible as the Void Grubs go into the pocket as well. They are getting... I can't believe he gets a kill there. Insane.
Yeah, NLC Player of the Week, securing 1-for-1s, outplaying constantly. Roshan trying to make a beeline down to bot side against this siege. Silky Smath and Edward getting 2 plates there on top of that because Romeo decides to opt for this roam. Romeo not finding the angles that he did last week. We praised Romeo a lot, right, for finding all of these engages on champions like Nautilus, like Blitzcrank. But down bot side with that dive doesn't work out. And now, Roshan, with that timer, knowing that timer on the raid camp since they stole the last one, going to take the 3rd rotation respawns and be pretty content.
Yeah, and it feels like a bit of... When you're playing support, right, these engage supports, and you are balancing a bit on the knife's edge between insanity and these insane outplays. I really like the idea from Romeo here. The rotation up. Yes, he might lose a couple plays, but if that works out, which it almost did, you get a free kill. Your mid laner will get even further ahead, who's already 2-0. Just unfortunate to take that extra bit of damage, and Alex, credit to him for managing his damage output and getting these outplays 2 times in a row now on Romeo. This game has delivered way more early game action than I expected. In terms of neutral objectives, though, the 3 Void Grubs have gone over to Nadinat, and that first rate is still alive.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll start it up. They don't have priority. It's a bit awkward without Flash on this Jhin, so... he lost so much, right? From all those minions, as well as the Flash and all his summoners. You can see GM Edvard potentially trying to set up his remount to flip over with Maokai down bot side. They need to trade and kind of force something. No, actually they don't, because the wave is coming into them. So Nord bot lanes are facing a bit of a dilemma. They need to crash this wave, so they need to call Roshan down here. You can see he's making a beeline down bot side because they need to crash. With Natty Nat pressuring, they're getting zoned off of a lot of XP.
Losing a small bit of 300 gold lead now between the 2 AD carries. So that comes thanks to the plates and all the CS that has been denied from Silky Smath. Top lane asleep, as you said. Nila, though, looks like he wants something here. The network has come out. Decent bit of damage, but looks like he just wants to, you know, trade build low and force that crash of minions. Now, though, the ultimate in the bot side. Good engage from Edward. Oh, they're all locked up. The piercing arrow cuts through the HP bars initially, but the kills can't quite be found. Romeo, too far forward here, has the flash, goes underneath the safety of his turret, but it's not that safe. They're so low as Alex, with that accelerated gate, deals good damage with the shock blast as well. Looks for the kills here. Romeo needs his arch nemesis this game as they lock him up, and all 3 just try and run. Can Alex close the gap? Flash available on Merbs, will use it, and they are all out. The investment was massive from Ruddy, but they can't quite get the kills, as now it's Warzy underneath the turret all alone. TP coming in again. Nila will join his mid laner in this fight, as it looks like it is a horror situation for Ruddy. What is happening? As now Nila is here as well to try and close down the kill on Alex, and he will. 3 kills into the pockets of Nord. I don't know how that play turned around so badly for the UK organization.
Yeah, was he TP down to try and catch the wave, right? But it was so frustrating watching Alex try and kill Merbs and Romeo there, because he couldn't hammer form Q forward because he was getting interrupted by the Alistair Q. right? If he went in, it would be interrupted mid-air. So he had to just stand there autoing as a range champion, never engaging, and Merbs could just flash out. Then you look at that dive, and they just don't have enough damage, because I believe what happened was Warzy managed to somehow avoid, whether it was through being knocked away by the Maokai Q or something like this, he managed to avoid the Varusy, so all the damage disappears, it fizzles, they don't do enough, he survives, and it's a double kill. Man, both these plays down bot side are really, really volatile and keep somehow backfiring for the side of Ruddy.
Yeah, we are really in a tight game. It feels like these plays could have gone in both teams' favor multiple times, and it's all about who finds the mechanical outplay, makes that individual error or whatever to really be able to either win or lose you a play. So very tight game so far, and this was one I was really looking forward to as well. You can see it on the predictions. Pretty much all of us think this game will be close, unless if your name is Hipbrain and you've betted 5 points on NORD for some reason, as this first strike will be taken into the what am I gonna say? Who does NORD represent in terms of nations? I don't know. I tried to push him to go for Denmark, but they didn't really like that idea, as the Void Grubs will go over into the side of Ruddy as well. So they'll pick up 6 Void Grubs. That will help them later on as they try to take these turrets down, as Roshan will look for a counter move here. Did he just mess up that headbutt polarize?
I think he decided mid headbutt, decided he didn't want to go for it. Roshan's just going to settle for this Crud camp. But yeah, no, props. I want to give props, right? Because it's not all NORD messing up. It's also players like Warzy TPing at the right time and outplaying and actually doing incredibly well. Got that Eclipse Rush already, finished it off, and going to proc on those singular rockets, which is really OP. Now,
ult lands. Merbs, no flash, yeah. Metal Storm, Crackdown, a couple more auto attacks, and the shutdown is found. And now Romeo might find himself in a dire situation. Does have the Unbreakable will available. No flash now on Edward as he had already used it. So Romeo able to get out alive, but Merbs gets punished, shut down into the pockets of Edward. Not quite where they wanted to go
top side.
But
look top side.
happy with getting it. Yeah, Nile. 1v2, yeah, he could kill Build, but the needlework goes wide now. If I could turn around Nile. Feels like he still fancies this, but Build does not, and he backs out as well with Medinette.
Yeah, nearly getting the better of this 1v2. Not finding the all-in for the side of Bill and Natty Natty. I mean, it makes sense, right? They lack the damage together, unless they land a full combo to be able to get through the Gwen healing and resistances. So, just gonna opt to take a reset here after almost getting 1v2'd. Fairly even. It's 3 for 3 plates down bot side. I'm surprised with how volatile it is. Yep, yeah, everyone gonna reset.
Yeah, this game is a banger so far, again, and I think looking at the schedule for today, we could have multiple of these games, but this one on paper in my eyes, the hardest one to predict. Ruddy have surprised me immensely this split. I didn't know many of the names. I knew Silky Smash from his time in the Danish league, but he wasn't too impressive over there. And to now see him in the NLC, he's performing better than I remember, and the rest of the team is looking good as well. So many mechanical outplays coming through every now and then from these players. It's impressive to see.
He's on a ward.
Let's see if Bill can outplay his way out of this one, as Roshan is here, does have the world and available. Can Bill just run his way out, does have the flash as well. A fancy outplay called walking out of a bad situation comes through as Bill survives.
Yeah, you can see Alistair's trying to get there as well, but I don't think he has the damage.
Way, right?
He has Ignite. That's probably what he's thinking, right? He's thinking...
Don't go for it. I mean, Roshan had, or Romeo rather, does have the balls to go for that play, but maybe after... he has made a couple of oversteps this game, decides against it, as Build is able to get out of that one. Alex pushing in the mid wave, as wasn't quite there to catch the wave. Merc will instead get it. Plates disappear, as I do believe Nilo was able to pick up 1 or 2 plays up in the top side after he forced Build out of the lane. Get that extra bit of gold, but so far the game is very even. Pretty much only the mid lane where the gold lead is substantial, and that's only 900 gold.
Yeah, NORD shifting Merbs to mid lane because he can't farm bot because it would have just been doped by the Maokai, and in the end, Ruddy coming out on top of that trade because of the Romeo roam that didn't quite work out. Getting both plates that were left as well as first tower. Now, it might come down to a fight here, but I don't think that Ruddy want to contest this. They're a bit late, so... Something interesting, though, just to talk about with Rift Herald, is they introduced a passive to Rift Herald where if you're soloing the Rift Herald, you do a lot less damage. So, yeah, they're having Merbs come over here and to alternate that buff, which debuffs the person hitting, the last person hit, and they're going to get it. I wonder where they're going to hit. It's actually really valuable to potentially hit mid, right, versus Alex, who will have to then overextend to potentially get CS without a tower. But, yeah, up to Roshan. We'll have to see where he puts it.
That is a really good point. It's definitely something that can be felt. Normally, junglers able to take that with ease and pretty quickly as well. The old Rift Herald all on their own, and with that change now, it does take either a long time or you need to call up someone to help you out with it. Two members of RUD though on towards the spot side, just trying to make sure Warzy can't farm too easily and continue to scale up. Corgi, a champ that with the removal of mythic items has really been freed Aragon in terms of the build paths and what is the correct build. Look, this is an Eclipse Corgi, something you'd never see just one season ago.
Yeah, it's because Eclipse passive with the percentage health is proccing on rockets when you have Malignance. Malignance is contributing to that multi-hit passive for some reason, who knows? Honestly, my eyes go over to the Profane Hydra Jace. That's not something I've seen, personally, because Jace isn't really played that often. I think Jace had a little bit of trouble with items recently. I think I've seen Opportunity, but Profane Hydra, I don't know when you get in range to be able to use that when you're playing a poke composition like Varus, Jace, Maokai at teamfights. Maybe when you go into cleanup. Still, very interesting as... Does look like with Dragon spawning up, everyone's going to go shift into the mid lane and contest mid prio. They really need to get the vision set down and start pummeling each other with this poke. Package going to come up for Warzy as well, so eyes on that.
Getting closer to the mid game, Malignance won't be bought at this time, as we just see Warzy looking for that Manimune. I would suspect as a second item. But other than that, though, first items have been hit pretty much across the board. A couple. I mean, the support of Romeo hasn't gotten it, and same goes for Natty Nat. So Herald has been summoned now. Will you take it for a drive, or will they just let it charge naturally? Won't be driven into the turret. Will instead just crash by itself. That's a decent amount of damage. Obviously, they did nerf that a little bit. Now they want you to take control of the monster yourself. But Drake seems to be started up. Roshan should be able to get it for 3, but it will be traded NORD, or Nila rather. What will you do in this potential 1v5, as Warzy is here to be back up though? Here comes Edward initially. Alex spots out Warzy, and this might be the sign for them to stop the engage. Yeah, Nila able to walk away. The turret though should fall, right?
Yeah, smart from NORD though. Smart from NORD though. They know that with that Herald pressure, Ruddy can't move in, so they decide not to actually contest the Dragon. They know they're going to cross-map topside, potentially dive Nilly, so they send Warzy with that move speed from the package to cover that topside. And in the end, they only lose a tower rather than Nilly's life. So NORD kind of running the entire map right now. Yes, they lose a tower for it, but they managed to secure second Drake. Now that Dragon Salt Wind condition, if they get another one, is activated. As built, gotta be a bit careful, mate.
Built with the World Ender has been able to walk out of a couple bad situations. Hasn't died yet, and actually sits on a 100 goal lead, as the goal lead for the game has now swung over into the favor of Ruddy, and that is thanks to the 2 turrets they have just managed to take, and in particular the goal lead down in the bottom position as well. Silky Smith pretty far ahead.
He's on a ward.
As he now gets spotted. Yeah, on the ward, recalling. Romeo flashes forward. Will there be further engage? Silky Smith just forced to flash out. Nature's Grasp persuades any further engage from happening, as Roshan happens to just find his way out. TPs are coming through. Do they want to extend this fight? Build arrived just to say hello and walk out of the situation, as Warzy also TP'd in. Mid lane tier 1 is the target, and Nila, he's on the flank.
Yeah, bit of a strange set of events. There was no tools to actually turn as Ruddy, so I'm surprised Built committed the TP there, because maybe you were scared of being dove afterwards, right? In which case I could see it, but Varus ult wasn't up, right? And there was absolutely nothing to turn with. Cooldowns were down.
Built?
Ruddy. Warzy's senses are tingling.
I don't know if he spotted him back with his Scribe's boom.
He did.
He was
I
wanting
think
the
he
other
did.
side of the bush. Okay, he did. Okay. I mean, I know that bush is confusing toward the way it curves around the map.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The terrain makes it very hard to ward. Not hard to ward well. If I'm saying that, I'm probably just too bad at warding. But it's harder than other bushes. That's my point. Right? Has certainly changed Rift, and as a support player, you have to rethink where to place your wards most optimally. Regardless, though, we're almost reaching that 20-minute point, and after a very exciting early game, Aragon, the tempo has slowed down.
Yeah.
It's been more focused on the macro play and getting these neutral objectives off the Rift.
And I think you can expect it to continue to not be super exciting, and that's because on both sides you don't really have that great neutral objective damage, right? You don't have like Jhin infamous for being very slow, lethality Varus the exact same, Jace not exactly gonna do a huge amount. You don't have huge shred. I guess Gwen on the side of NORD can do a little bit, but neither team has that wow factor in rushing down this Nash, so they've got to play for tier 2s instead and potentially little picks as they invade. It's exactly what they're gonna do. So Natty Nat gonna scout, potentially try and invade that neutral objective respawn, but it's gone now, so things might just fizzle as they shadow the mid push.
Yeah, Herald up in just 20 seconds, and all of a sudden, someone gets picked off, especially Roshan on Natty Nat. The game could very quickly flip on its head. It is pretty much dead even, as we will also start to see more of the effect of the poke coming through as the second, and especially those Manimutes are close to getting upgraded to Mirror Man, as 3 of them bought so far this game. As that is just Baron spawning. Confused me on the map for a second, as Romeo on this flank knows that Silky Math has no flash. Turret is low as well. They could go for a play here. Romeo, when does he come over the wall? He finds the
The
target,
bush.
and they just dive right in. Finds the kill easily, as Edward forced to crash down to safety. Nature's Grasp can't stop this engage from happening, as Silky Math is already dead.
Yeah, and you can see the reason for that happening was because Aatrox, built on this Aatrox, actually didn't push out topside. He tried to make a play before by grouping up. Then he had to go catch topside, and Nilly and Warzy synced up their waves to crash and be able to crash and then walk to mid lane to dive. So really good play. Set a macro from NORD coming out here as they find a pick onto the flashless Silky's Math.
Yeah, and NORD are looking better this week. One of my complaints about NORD in the first week was, yeah, you can see that they have good players. I'm looking at the roster. I know many of these names. I know that they can play at the level of NLC Division 1. But they looked somewhat uncoordinated. Their plays wasn't that great because they just didn't feel like they were on the same page. It took them 20 minutes more to close out the first game off the split even that they should have up against Nate, which is why I thought they played well in the early game. But they fell off towards the mid and late game, and they really struggled to win that game. And here, though, they still have the chaotic early game, but they were the ones who came out on top, and now they're playing the macro game pretty decently as well, we'll say, and they look more coordinated, and that was my big criticism. So very happy to see the improvement so far.
Yeah, Murman is almost online now. Dragon becoming the point of contention. It's third Drake for NORD, so very important to secure for both teams. Ready, getting the push in the mid lane. With that damage and that threat from the Rel and the Varus ulti. So going to be able to move in. This is really important because now you have to face check. If you're NORD, you have to face check through these saplings, through the potential threat of all this poke. And that's going to be really crippling. So maybe we're going to look for some kind of flank, something like this. Move in together after this mid push to secure some vision. But it's so hard to get past this kind of no man's land between the river and the bushes as the ult comes through.
And Nature's Grasp will look to try and lock someone up. It will be Romeo, but he'll quickly walk out of it. Nadina taken quite low though. The re-engage from Romeo. They want the fight. TP's in as well. Nila is there, but can they cut through the front line? It is Silky's Math instead. They've somehow find the back line. As Nadina now locked up as well. Romeo finds 3, and NORD find the fight. It is Build now running. He's trying to turn it around, but you're not this shy. Double kill for Nila. This will be Baron and Drake likely for NORD.
What an interesting, like, such a strange set of decisions from Ruddy, right? You have full bot side vision. You can force the enemy to come to you and continuously tank poke as they come, and then potentially ult as Maokai to secure that dragon if you start it up to dissuade them coming forward. Instead, they decide to barrel it down, focus down a Xin Zhao who can always press R and not be able to kill him. And it seemed a little bit desperate, right? Maybe they thought that they would just get out-poked in a poke war because of how fed the Gorky is. But you had so much vision control. Just take a look at the wards down bot side. Still, good punish from the side of NORD. You know, understand you're making a mistake, collapsing onto the Xin Zhao, and they DPS and win.
Yeah, and ready this time though, they will be able to stop that soul point from happening. That's a silver lining, but I wholeheartedly agree with your point. It felt like Reddy were a bit too impatient, or maybe as you said, hold on.
Was he?
What? Was he? It's not Christmas, man. You don't have to donate presents. What?
Okay. So, what have they lost here? Have they lost much? They don't have TP. So that was a TP flank from Warzy. I don't think anyone was expecting.
You're joking, man.
I can't justify.
What?
I'm trying to justify it.
Go on.
Maybe Nilly was on his way as well, and with the Hextech portals, he can make it if Warzy could buy enough time. I don't think he was expecting to get one pop. He really wanted to use that 3-item spike. But yeah, not the best use still. It's going to be alright. He's just going to respawn, come onto the map with those Hextech portals and be on the map pretty quickly, and they can continue the siege down bot side to that tier 2.
You know, that is why I love the NLC, right? Because
I love it too.
we have the best plays and the worst plays at the same time. We just... I still can't believe that. Yeah, I mean, I'm almost at a loss of words, man. That was crazy. I can't believe we just saw that. Regardless, though, to try and bring it back to the point of conversation, the items are starting to come through, but you can start to see the difference in gold as well, in particular in that mid lane, right? A full extra item here for Warzy. Yet to see the effects of it, despite his best attempt to making it shine. I will also say that the top laners have been pretty quiet this game, but oh, that 2.5 item Gwen, almost level 16 Nila, he is very, very strong at this point. Despite the gold difference only being 1.3k, I mean, Build feels very far behind when they 1v1, and now it's Edward who might be caught out. Does have the crash down available, the shield already popped. A bit of burst from Alex, but that poke isn't strong enough at this point. Only 2 items on the Jace, and yeah, Ruddy, I mean, it just doesn't feel like they have the damage at the moment.
Yeah, amazing frozen heart value. We were talking about how Jace got picked up, and we were surprised it wasn't Orianna. Maybe some champion pool things for Alex, and he just prefers the AD mid with the Maokai, but just for the ability to win lane a bit harder into this Corki, and maybe he doesn't get online. Still, it probably doesn't come down to picks. There was so much shenanigans early game. As Natty Nat, he's on a ward. Nah, it's just gonna be a siege down bot side. Nothing too interesting.
I mean, I understand why NORD have gone back to do nothing extraordinary here, as they did try to do that before with Warsy, and maybe they. I don't know if you have this saying in the UK, but in Denmark, right, we say "brand barn skyld," which is like once you make a mistake or get burned on the stove, you won't do that again. A child will learn from that mistake, and it seems like Warsy has done that here after just going 1v5 mode.
Yeah, no TP. It's going to be pretty hard to split push. If your team gets engaged on by a Maokai ult, right, and you can't TP in, it's pretty problematic. So now, after going bot side 5-man, they're going to go top side, paying attention to that top side with the Baron respawning soon as well. I'm going to siege, take that really low HP turret. So it makes sense. Take a lot of the freestanding gold. It's really, really easy to siege. You could just press, you could just threaten right behind the turret for a dive, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
And Aragon, what now for RUD? We are both ready predictors here. Obviously, Himbrain is laughing in this chat at the moment with NORD winning the game. Getting 5
He's really happy, isn't he? Yeah.
But for RUD at the moment, how do they come back? Because it doesn't feel like they have anyone who's incredibly strong at this moment. Now 3 items on Silky's math, but I'm not seeing him connect many Qs, and
I think it's incredibly hard, right? It's incredibly hard because of the fact that both team comps kind of function pretty similarly. Both are extremely long range, focused compositions with options to engage, right? And if you function exactly the same, you just lose the head-to-head at your worst, right? So for Ruddy, I'd rather they cross-map, maybe give over the 3rd dragon, potentially play for tier 2 topside. But the problem with that is that NORD have shown an aptitude to be able to know when the enemy's going to cross-map and defend it, right? Whilst also securing the objective. Warzy in particular is pretty good at this. So that would be my opinion. Unless they think they're an item component spike where they can fight. I'm just looking at Natty Nat's inventory, and it's making me a little sad, so I'd rather they cross-mapped.
Yeah, I mean, that's what is he building at the moment?
It looks like Kanik Rukun sitting on Barmies. It's just a lot of components, so I love builds like this where you've got 50
He's
components.
thrift shopping at the moment, right? He's trying his best, man. He's buying what he can for sale at the moment at the local retros or whatever UK store they shop at Tesco, maybe, I don't know.
I'm
3
a
items now,
Morrison's guy.
though. You're a Morrison's guy. I've never heard of that. I've heard of Poundland, though. Made an assignment about that back in the day of my school years. Regardless, the 3 item spikes are coming through, not only for Silky's Math, who has now reached that point, but also for Nila. I discussed 2.5 items being scary. Now he's level 16 with that Ravenous Death Cap as well. He's going to be able to cut through anyone that he likes. But
watch the poke.
Point is up here. Yeah, let's see the poke. A couple of connections first off from Silky's Math. Has set up hurt moves, but like the damage just isn't that massive. The poke not quite sticking, and Warsy, he's having the time of his life. He could look to recall. I do believe he might have the big package ready again soon. Would like to get that for the fight.
Yeah, gonna TP in with that Kanik Rukun from Natty Nat, gonna be absorbing a bunch of that Corki poke, and it is a Varus plus Jace versus purely a Corki poke. You have a little bit from Jin, but not that much.
Okay, TP in from Warsy as well.
But in this fight, it is crucial who gets poked, right? You really want it to land as the package is coming out. He could just send it.
Yeah. It is quite
Watch
low.
the
These
Maokai
guys come through. Can they get into the pit? I mean, look how far away Roshan is. He can't get there in time. It's gone. Second Drake into the favor of Ruddy. Will the fight be here, though? So NORD can claim something back. Build taken low. Should be taken down as the big package go forward. But the healing from Build is excessive. He won't
Build?
quite die yet. He's still alive. How is he healing so much, man? Could he die? No, finally.
But look at the
answer
base.
was a yes. Yeah, look at the base. Nila's split pushing. He's going for the game. Can they get back? Oh, they can. Alex already there. 950 gold bounty. The game is becoming chaotic, but it's into the favor of Ruddy.
Yeah, Gwen's such a good split pusher. They opt, we're gonna
Redwood.
waste their time whilst we split push, and Warzie's probably gonna fall here. No, Edward just misses.
Where's the remount? The TP, yeah, Warzie's dead here. No way out of this one. The big auto will come through. Should secure it as well. Alex TP's in. Baron is in the cards here. Roshan alive though. 3 members from NORD to try and stop this, but Ruddy have found their way back into this game.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, right? So it's really creative to use the threat of the split push from that Gwen. The 3-item Gwen can 1v1 pretty much anyone, right? And then waste their time at this dragon.
Roshan
What?
is
Posturing?
looking. It's half HP. They do have vision over the Baron. Can he get into the pit? It is 5 members of Ruddy here. Down to 3k HP. Yet again, the Nature's Grasp just locks up the rift, ensures that NORD can't move. while the time ready, do all the business moves and lock up that barrier, the gold lead. Being closed at the moment, just 3k separates these two teams, but more importantly, the confidence boost this gives you as well. You now have the gold lead in the mid lane in your favor as well. 3 items on the poke champs really helps a lot. And ready, they haven't given up.
Yeah, so what a long sequence of events, right? They really try to secure that dragon as well as the cross map. But the problem is, I'm pretty sure NORD with that 5-0 Corki could, if they barreled it down as a 5-man, just secure the dragon and then play for the tier 3 afterwards. Still, that pressure from the inhibitor is going to matter a lot as they siege down bot side. Wow, really rough. And that inhib will be taken for the next dragon spawn as well for pressure for that. So, pressure in terms of waves going to be favoring NORD right now.
It feels like we're at a crucial stage of the game, right? 30 minutes in, now Baron for ready, but to me, I'm a bit scared for what I'm seeing from NORD as well. You mentioned it, had they gone just 5-man for the Drake, they would have likely secured it, and then they could have looked for the tier 3s, but instead they split out the map. It seemed a bit coordinated when to go for the push, when to go for the Drake, and in the end, they ended up, yes, they've broken open the base on the top side, but they lost the soul point for the second time in a row. They also gave up a massive shutdown bounty into a Baron, and I praised them earlier in this game for looking more coordinated, but the further we move into the game, the less coordinated NORD seem, and the more chaotic these games become.
I mean, just recall back to last week. First game of the split was NORD. I can't remember exactly who they're against, but the game went to 50 minutes. It was natives, 50 minutes, right? Of course, you could argue it was compositional, the reasoning. But still, it was the lack of, like, coordinated macro and confidence. That's what Nilly said in a post-game interview. And that's for the reasoning that they could not end the game quicker. Still, this game is still really even, right? You have Dragon spawning in a minute 40's time, so everyone's barreling it down mid lane with one down bot side potentially for that shove to threaten that tier 2. They can push both mid and bot lane now, move in for this vision, and create a huge pocket of darkness that NORD have to face check. And they might just secure soul point here with that threat of the Maokai again. It doesn't seem like NORD have a way of dealing with it.
Yeah, ready. They've had a tough start to the split, not in terms of how they've performed as that poke absolutely hurts. That is incredible damage coming through. Now let's look at build here. He does take up a good amount of damage. We know he has the healing. Can he survive this one as well? Survives for much longer than he should have. But he is now gone. Silky Smith low as well. Look at the Hex Gate. Can Roshan find the engage, already be able to get out? It seems like they will, as the game is far from over, but so far they've had 3 tough opponents ready, right? They've had NORD, they've had Verdant, they've had Lion's Creed. 3 rosters that are on paper very strong rosters in our league. If they could win this game, they would be sitting at a 2-1 scoreline. That would be making a statement about what this roster can do. And if they lose this game, I'd still be happy with their performance. They've surprised me so far by making these games way closer than I think they should have been allowed to, especially after they lost that first Baron, but NORD and closing out games haven't been the best story so far.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on how they do going forward. Still going to be able to close out this one down bot side with this tier 2 turret and secure. Hopefully they just recall and go bot side. They can't keep sieging. I don't think so because the wave clear is too strong, but I might have to hold my tongue as they recall and potentially defend this inhib down bot side. Ult comes out.
Oh, yeah. Ult comes out, but doesn't do much though, unless Nile locked up. Oh, that's a pause.
Oh, he DC'd.
Oh, he DC'd. No way. That was why his move. Oh, his.
That's why, yeah, it spread. The chains of corruption from the Varus spread to Nilly there, and he just stood still. So I wonder how we're going to go about dealing with that one.
He could have W, right? Normally, even when you're rooted as a Gwen, you can still use the Hell of Mist, and then you'd be able to survive for quite a while in there, in your own little safe zone, and the poke wouldn't have hit. And at a crucial point of the game, we've just discussed how important these next couple of minutes are. They got the inhib, but Nile might now die because he's finding himself in a situation he doesn't do. And I mean, I know we're the NLC, the greatest ERL, but I don't know if we have the power for chrono breaks or anything like that. I don't think so.
So that's why, like, 2 minutes before, I was saying, I really hope, or more like 30 seconds, I really hope that they just push in this wave, secure the tier 2 bot side, recall, and then go for Dragon, because it'd be soul point for them, right? It's not like Ruddy lack wave clear or the ability to engage after they get back on the map. So, the engage probably doesn't come down if Nilly is in the game, So we'll have to see how that unfolds. I just think they could have all recalled, gone on the map, and secured vision for this next Dragon.
So does it feel like we've discussing a lot about NORD? They're a bit too greedy sometimes. They want to bite off more than they can chew, and they make these mistakes where they then get punished because, no, you can't go for the tier 3 up top side while also securing yourself the soul point. You will be punished one way or the other, and sometimes the punishment is bigger than the reward they gain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think...
Oh, let's watch get right back in. Nila does survive for now. Pops the ghost as well. He's back on the rift and instantly runs. Roshan now the target. Forced to flash away. Nature's Grass come through and just see Warzy. Hits one big rocket and Silky Smath. He's down to 30% HP. Warzy, not so tanky himself. Tries to poke while he's running back. One big shock blast will connect and Warzy's slowed up. Should be taken down. He's rooted. He's gone. The mid lane and the most damage has been removed. This Nila still running back. Same goes for the rest of NORD. The soul point now on the cards for Ruddy. The curtain has been called. Can Alex find his fancy feet? And he will.
Romeo?
He's out to safety. Romeo, can he close the gap? Might be able to, but let's turn our attention back to the Drake because Roshan wants to take it. Build half HP.
Oh, no,
Nila's
Ruddy.
back. He does not have the needle wake. He can look to cut through the HP bars of Ruddy in this situation. 4k HP on the Drake, but it's not the target at the moment. It is winning the fight. And from that, maybe even the game, they'll claim Natty Nat. They'll claim the soul point. Could they march on towards the Nexus, or will they be stopped? This game, Aragon, so back and forth.
I think the wave clear is going to be too much with that, with Alex alive, with Silky's Math alive as well. I think the problem was that they had there was the fact that they just had no damage onto this dragon. They had, I believe it was just Natty Nat and this Aatrox hitting it. So the screen freeze, Duckling,
Don't worry,
or is
you
it
can
just
see the
me?
time is moving.
Yeah,
That is,
yeah.
I do believe we've had this once before, and it will eventually catch back up. We are going back to our beautiful faces while we get that fixed up.
There we go.
I mean, these pauses are coming at a horrible time, just like in the beginning that we were setting up for invades. Now we're setting up for game-winning plays, and we're being disrupted at every chance.
I think it's not too bad. At least there's a bit of a lull time right now. I don't think they're going to threaten to end or anything like this because the wave players, they'd rather just recall spend their gold. They just secured soul point. So in the next 5 minutes, they can score the next one and then potentially threaten to end that way because the poke with a Hextech Soul, we all know how potent that is, right? With the long range slow. So definitely going to be on the cards next.
And that Hextech Soul is going to be so important. It is as you say, for the poke, it just means a whole lot more. And looking at how much this game means, obviously we're only 2 weeks into the whole system, but it feels like we're getting to get a better grasp of our teams as we move forward. And I've mentioned it for Roddy already. They've had 3 tough opponents in a row. If they win this, 2-1 would be a fantastic scoreline for NORD as well. They haven't had the easiest games. They've gone up against Natives, who on paper is a roster that, in my opinion, should challenge for playoffs. And they've had a game against Verts. They've won one and lost one, but their games have all been so close. And while I'm having a good idea of Ruddy being able to punch above my initial expectation from the NORD, it's hard to say where I judge them because they're so up and down. This looks pretty good though, as Build is locked up. We know it can survive for a while, but up against a late game, Gwen, yeah, he's cut through very quickly, cut down, and that's a Baron spawning as well, Aragon. They could turn towards it now without that top laner. Is there anything Ruddy can do? Do they just have to give it up?
Nah, they have to give this up. Then maybe they can come. So when you're on Baron, a big threat is the poke. But I think this just goes down so quick because Nilly's huge. He does so much damage to this Nash.
Yeah, that is gone very quickly. To say that at the least 5k the difference between these two teams, but that's not what matters right now. It's if NORD can find that one fight. Build still down for 25 seconds. NORD want to push this advantage to the limits. Big packages here as well. This feels like it could be Ruddy's last stance. The poke is there, but the damage not as massive as you would have hoped for almost 40 minutes into the game. Your top laner's back in 10 seconds though, and now you're fighting tooth and nail to keep your base alive.
Yeah, and I think it's about mitigating right here. Even if you TP in, you probably just get one shot. So no angle to TP, in my opinion, for Built. He's just going to run over. Oh my.
Oh my god. Silky
These
Smash should be
corky
forced into the
rockets.
GA here. Curtain Call comes through and connects in the first shot as well. We know who they want. It's Silky Smash. He respawns, but he has just seen death twice in 5 seconds. NORD were waiting on top of his body as it was coming back up, and now Ruddy with Alex have to keep this game going for 45 seconds without that main poker. Now it is Alex though, trying to clear the wave as Edward tries to zone away NORD from that third inhibitor. The minions will now be charging through with 6 super minions in the coming waves, but NORD don't seem like they need to wait. They could go for the game-ending play right here still. Silky Smath gone for 25 seconds. Nedinat stepping up, trying to just zone them away from the turrets. As they do get Romeo quite low, NORD have been over eager in the past, and they just Might not want to make that mistake one more time. Alex, though, if he forwards the game, surely it's over.
Yeah, I mean, they just gotta wait, right? They gotta play with time. They have minion waves flooding the base in every single lane. You could see the army of super minions coming out of the enemy base right now in NORD's base, 2 in each lane. So it's just going to be a pummeling with poke, waiting for those minions as it's
That
playable.
shot blast was massive. Silky Smith is back as well. Now NORD, can they win the fight? Romeo goes in, but he's instantly taken down. Same goes for Rashawn. Can they find more here? Kid Ruddy look to potentially win the game. The death time was long, but Build walks forward. The backup not quite that because the minions are destroying the base they have to kill the minions. NORD, it felt like they yet again stayed for a bit too long, but this time with the minions there, they won't lose more than they can't come back from. And Ruddy are fighting tooth and nail, but they are losing an inch every time they make a play, and now there's only their Nexus left.
Yeah, I mean, their base is going to be sieged. Ruddy's base is going to be continuously sieged now, and once all 5 members of NORD spawn and they just barrel it down mid, it might be too much. Usually, triple inhib is a death sentence, especially if they manage to secure Baron somehow, but Dragon is coming up, so they might just end up going to Dragon. Using the threat of these triple inhib super minions, they can just go to this Dragon and secure the soul. It's not going to be pretty. They have to sit there and wave clear as long as they can. With these super minions continuously pouring in, I don't think they can even leave their base.
That is for 3 more minutes as well. I don't think they can test the soul. Maybe Netnet could go down there for the flash. But I think if he dies, even if he denies the soul, I mean, they just lose the game 4v5. Can they even win a 5v5? I have a lot of questions about the games that we're finding ourselves in, and many of them, my answer at the very least is as Ruddy will have a tough time coming out on top. 5k gold difference, but I mean, that doesn't matter anymore. The damage on NORD is just too much.
Yeah, it's so difficult when you're faced with so many super minions because you have to commit your spells to defending, and then the enemy can just engage, right? Because you don't have any spells. So it looks like they want to try and find something, but I don't think they can. I think this is going to go down.
And that's the soul finally in the pockets of NORD after 40 minutes of gameplay. They will now barrel it down mid lane, I assume, and look to close this one out. The game has been long. It's been back and forth. Ruddy, do you have one final stand in you? It is all about who hits his poke. Warzy, one big rocket on either Alex and Silky Smith, and they are pretty much dead. But if Silky Smith and Alex connect their poke together, they could look to take down one of the important carries of NORD, and then maybe, just maybe, the fight is back on the table, and Ruddy could look to come out on top.
Yeah, every auto from Nilly here, quarter hits the Nexus. They have to decide right now. They have to engage before the super minions barrel in. Do you go on to Nilly, or do you engage mid? They have to pull the trigger. Where's the Maokai? Watch Natty Nat.
Yeah, let's look for the Nature's Grasp, but look, Silky Smith been hit by one ultimate from Warzy, and now he is already very low. The curtain has been called, and now the fight breaks out. They're going for Nile, but they can't cut through his HP bar. Look at the healing! He just doesn't die! He refuses to go down, and Nile will find 3. Could have been a Penta, but who cares? Because NORD, they're happy they take the win. 40 minutes of grueling back and forth action. But Nile refused to go down, and NORD take the game.
And in classic NORD fashion, they bring the Nexus to their knees. It's just absolutely brutal. With the scaling coming in from Nilly on this Gwen, as well as the Corki scaling, it's just too much. It was an interesting game, though. I feel like, in some ways, Ruddy handed the early game to NORD when they were diving. I recall at Tier 2, a Maokai flash W under Tier 2 turret into a collapse, and Warzy just kept picking up a bunch of kills. Still, really well played from NORD capitalizing.
Jesus Christ, that Nilly healing was insane in the last fight. What a game. Back and forth game. Ruddy, I'm impressed by their performance by them being 1 and 2. They've had tough games and they've shown up. Fair play to that roster. I'm excited to see what next. For NORD, they're also taking steps in the right direction, but they still need to improve on closing out these games. They are grueling, they're long, and they are hard fought. But we'll take a well-deserved break. When we come back, the analysts will break down the game and get us ready for Lions Creed, who will be looking to dominate and continue domination up against Lucas Lightside.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.